If you're an established investor or even a new one, I'm sure you've heard of the age-old tug of war in regards to what is the best strategy when investing in residential property. There are generally only two schools of thought about the best way to build wealth through property.
Is it better to have capital growth in your portfolio or cash flow?
Cash flow, capital growth.
Cash flow and capital growth.
Capital gains versus cash flow. Capital growth or cash flow.
One favors properties that grow in value, capital growth. The other focus on properties that produce more income than what it costs to own them. In other words, cash flow positive properties. The biggest reason why there's an argument that you have to favor one over the other is that they're generally linked to a seesaw effect. When one is down, the other is up, and vice versa. The reasoning says the fundamentals which drive capital growth, blue chip location, strong buyer appeal, unique elements such as capital city location or waterfront position are not necessarily the best for generating above average cash flow. Home buyers will generally prioritize capital growth drivers and pay a premium for them. On the other hand, cash flow generating properties are those with strong tenant appeal. Whether they're located in regional centres undergoing a boom in local industry, or they maximise the number of residents who can rent rooms, these are always great ways to boost your rent, but not necessarily the factors that appeal to owner-occupiers willing to pay a little extra. Most cash flow investors are willing to accept lower growth rates as they view the benefit of the investment as being able to generate an income. For example, if your goal is to eventually retire and live off the property income, then positive cash flow properties may be your focus. You can acquire investment properties that deliver a strong return, and once you reach your desired passive cash flow, you can choose whether or not to keep working and live off the property income. Generally, cash flow is also what helps you build your portfolio. If you apply for a loan to buy a property, the first question the lender asks is, can you pay back the loan? Wherever your income is coming from, it all gets taken into account. And if you don't have sufficient income in the servicing calculators, then you don't get to question 2 or 3. For example, here I compared $2 million properties. A typical blue chip negatively geared property versus a high cash flow property. Let's assume the capital growth property has 6% capital growth and the cash flow property has 4%. Let's ignore rental increases, taxes, and other variables. This is purely illustrative. You can see that after 10 years, you would have made approximately $100,000 more from a blue chip property. But there's more to it than this. The cash flow property would have been taking less money out of your pocket each year, so you may have the ability to buy another property sooner. You will also typically have better serviceability with the lenders and be able to borrow more should you wish to buy future properties. Plus, you'll be able to live off the passive income from this property, whereas the blue chip you would need to sell to realize the value. Ultimately though, equity also plays a big factor in acquiring new properties, especially if your strategy is to keep borrowing against it. Either way, growth is the only way to build large amounts of wealth. So then arguably, if you don't want your properties to cost you anything to hold and want to experience growth, you need to select growth-focused properties that have a strong demand for rental. In other words, find a strategy that seeks to enjoy the best of both worlds by securing both growth and positive returns in the long term. Investors who manage to find the sweet spot where the property can have value added to it and therefore increase the yield while also increasing the overall saleability of the property will be in a much better position than investors who are fixated on only one strategy only. So, although there are two camps in property investing, you don't necessarily have to belong to one or the other. Why not get the best of both worlds and build your portfolio systematically and sustainably? While property investment is a great way to earn money, it shouldn't put your life on hold for 10 or 15 years. It shouldn't be such a financial burden that you can't go on holidays or enjoy a few treats because you're contributing to an investment strategy that aims only to give those same benefits later in life. So I'll end off this video by saying it's entirely possible to invest in balanced properties and give them a long-term window of opportunity. You just need a good team to help you achieve that. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, feel free to drop a comment below or get in touch with me to help you source properties that can help you achieve this goal. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. I'm Steve Palise, author of Residential Property Investing Explained Simply. Thanks for watching.